All right, hey, what's up, guys? Soldier Knows Best here. You know what time it is. It's time for a versus comparison between the new Pixel 5 and the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. So I wanted to put the Pixel 5 up against the big dog, I think, in cameras as far as being one of the most versatile cameras in the Note 20 Ultra. So here's a test using the front-facing cameras, but with the front-facing camera on the Note 20 Ultra, you can record up to 4K 60 frames per second. So definitely it's leading in that category, but it is a little windy out here too. So hopefully this is a good test of the microphones as well. So anyway, let's get right into this comparison and let me go inside my office and see what we got. Now, no matter what happens in this battle, both of these phones do have a really good design to them. They're totally different, but I think they look nice. But anyway, let's get to this comparison. So the first category I want to focus on is going to be portrait mode photos. And so with this first one, you can see, I think it's pretty easy to see that the Pixel 5 wins. And that's just because all the way through you find really good sharp detail. And I really like the skin tones on this one compared to the Note 20 Ultra, where it seems a little bit washed out, especially when you look at the background. It seems like it's just kind of the highlights are just way too much there. Now, the Note 20 Ultra did bring out the details in my hoodie there a little bit more, but you know, I can kind of get past that and just really focus on just how the color is reproduced on the Pixel 5 photos right here. All right, so here are some photos of me trying to look woke here, but you can see in the background in that raised railroad, you can see the different support beams and things. You can see more detail in the Pixel 5 there where they kind of get lost in the background with the Note 20 Ultra's photo. And I think both of them have decent depth of field here, but as you get closer to just looking at me, I actually like the skin tones and the color, more of the warmer tone on the Note 20 Ultra in this particular photo compared to how the colors reproduce on the Pixel 5. And that's a combination of just the lighting with the sun being behind me and different elements for the reason why I like the Note 20 Ultra as far as the way it looks versus like the last set of photos. But this is definitely a classic example of if I wasn't looking at them side by side, I think I would be totally fine with either one. And oh, okay, here we go. We are in the Halloween spirit now. So anyway, the one thing I noticed here is just by default, the depth of field that the Pixel 5 applies to its portrait mode photos definitely can be more aggressive than the ones on the Note 20 Ultra. Now on the Note 20 Ultra, you can go and edit the photo and adjust that background blur to get it pretty close to what you see on the Pixel 5. But yeah, just by default, this is how they look. And then also too, I noticed in how they reproduce the colors and also adjust the brightness for the photo. I'm liking the Note 20 Ultra here because you can see, you know, the color really pop off of that pumpkin, where on the Pixel 5 sometimes they get a little too contrasty and a little too, you know, too much shadows being relevant in the photo. And so while even though you get a little bit more detail with the Pixel 5, I just like that extra punch of brightness with the Note 20 Ultra for this shot. And okay, so I think the first thing you'll notice here with the Note 20 Ultra's photos is that the highlights are just way too turned up there, and you start to lose detail that is there in the photo that you still see with the Pixel 5. And then also too, I just noticed that with the bars on that gate on the Note 20 Ultra, it's kind of like a little bit uneven as far as the blur attacking that, where on the Pixel 5 that blur is pretty consistent. And then as we punch in here, we still have some of those highlight issues with the Note 20 Ultra, and you definitely see with the Pixel 5 that it kept the chain and the cone in focus, where on the Note 20 Ultra it really focused in on the chain and the cone itself was a little out of focus. And for this particular photo, I think it's better to keep all of that in focus, and I think it just looks better in my eyes. And so look, with this portrait mode section, I think it's kind of clear to see that the Pixel wins on this, and their just software optimization and things like that with the cameras that they do definitely helps put it over the top, especially with taking photos of objects. But there's definitely one category that we're about to get into where the Pixel just can't hang with the Note 20 Ultra, and that's going to be with zoom. And okay, so here are some photos just with no zoom applied with the cameras, and then now boom, I'm zooming in on the phones. Now, the Pixel 5 does not have a telephoto camera, so they actually swapped that out for an ultra wide camera this year. So that's definitely controversial, but you can see there where you lose that quality that you get with the Note 20 Ultra with having a dedicated telephoto camera, and also being able to have a total zoom up to 50 times zoom with the Note 20 Ultra, where you can only go up to 7 times zoom on the Pixel 5. And here is an example of me maxing out zoom on both of these phones. phones. So you can see, you can get kind of close there on the Pixel 5, but with that Note 20 Ultra, you can really get in there and really be able to read those words very clearly. Now, again, most people aren't going to want to use the photos at 50 times zoom on the Note 20 Ultra just because you can do it, but still you have that possibility and you have that capability, and this really does allow for that zoom range around 20 to 30 times zoom to still be able to produce some really good photos. And next up, we do have some night mode photos here. So these two photos are taken with no flash, no nothing, just regular camera mode here with no added things to it. But then now I switched over to night mode on both phones. And to be honest with you, this is kind of a draw to me. I mean, I guess the Note 20 Ultra did bring up a little bit more brightness in the grass and things, but I think both of them are pretty similar. Maybe on the Pixel 5, you do see that the sky is a little bit more even, but it's really kind of hard to tell, you know, which one did better in this particular situation. Now, there is a new feature that Google is advertising with the Pixel 5, and that's the fact that you can take a combo of portrait mode and night sight photos. And so you can see here an example of, with the Pixel 5, I used that combination, and on the Note 20 Ultra, I just took a regular portrait mode photo. Now with this, I have to say that the Pixel 5 did what it advertised. It actually did brighten up this portrait mode photo at night, but it did also introduce some noise into the photo while doing this as well. And you can see that around the phone, in my hands, and also in my hoodie, where on the Note 20 Ultra, it's a little bit darker, of course, but it still looks good, and it doesn't look, you know, as, you know, having too much noise in there, and you can actually just kind of brighten it up a little bit in post if you wanted to. But I still also do like the colors coming from my skin tones here on the Pixel 5 photos though. So yeah, both are good, but both are also different. Okay, so now let's switch things up a little bit and take a look at the videos that both of these phones can produce. Now, both of these phones can record 4K up to 60 frames per second using the rear facing cameras. And as you can see here, one kind of weak point of Pixel phones over these past few years have been the video recording, but they have fixed this a lot. Now, I will pause it here, and you can see one thing with the Note 20 Ultra that it still does do better, and that is with the shadows underneath this railroad here. They definitely still have more uniformity to it, where on the Pixel they still seem a little bit too noisy. But as we continue to play here, I think the Pixel still does a really good job overall, especially with the dynamic range that it can produce. And I was actually really impressed with the kind of normal stabilization that both phones have. But in my testing, I actually found that the Pixel 5 in just regular mode with no extra added stabilization was a little bit more stable. And then also too, I kept both of these phones in pure auto mode, and you can see the Note 20 Ultra did struggle with this particular shot. And typically I would just tap on it and bring down the brightness, but I did want to show what these phones were doing just right out of your pocket. And you can also see the differences here with the wall there on the Note 20 Ultra. The highlights kind of come in and out, where the Pixel does a pretty good job at remaining consistent. And we see that same thing happening here, where the Note 20 Ultra is just kind of a little bit too overexposed, but that Pixel 5 definitely impressed me here and kept things nice and steady. But there is one mode that the Pixel 5 does not have, and that is portrait mode for video, but the Note 20 Ultra does have it. And this is one of those things that's not really used that much by people, but I actually like to use it. And you can see that done right, it can get some really good results, and you definitely see that background blur, and it just adds a different dynamic to with the video that you're shooting. So I actually like using it from time to time, and I'm glad that the Note 20 Ultra does have that. And so something else that's important when it comes to recording video with the smartphone is definitely going to be stabilization. And so on the Note 20 Ultra, you do have this super steady mode, and then on the Pixel 5, you actually have multiple different modes. But I guess if you want to compare super steady, you can compare that to the active mode on the Pixel 5. But the Pixel 5 does take it a couple of steps further, because you do have this locked mode. And so this mode is kind of for far away shots. So this will actually zoom in 2 or 5 times. And then now when you hit the record button, it actually just locks in on that frame. And then also you do have cinematic pan, which is even better for panning shots, because it actually will slow down the shots half speed. And so that will kind of give you like a nice slow motion effect. And then also too allows you to get a very nice kind of movement with the phone. And so it's good that the Pixel 5 does have these extra stabilization features, but as far as just extra features across the board, the Note 20 Ultra has that, especially with videos. And so you can record in 8K on this thing, so that's definitely no competition with the Pixel. You can't get anywhere close to that. And then also too, you do have the ability to be able to use wireless earbuds as microphones. And here's a quick example of that. And so the audio right now that you're hearing is coming from the Pixel 5's built-in microphones, but I'm about to switch over to the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra right now. And now I'm talking on the Note 20 Ultra using my Galaxy Buds Live, my in-ear buds, to be able to use that as a microphone. So this is very convenient. Now I'm actually able to kind of put this down like so, and then now I can walk away here and you should still be able to hear me pretty clearly. And it is a little windy out here too, but because I have my Bluetooth earbuds, I'm still able to be in constant communication with you, so definitely useful. And you also have single take mode on the Note 20 Ultra, and this clip I'm showing you is from the S20 Ultra, but it's the same thing. But this allows you to press the record button in that mode, and then now the phone would take a bunch of different photos and videos and add different effects and filters to them, and then now you can choose which one you want later on. But hear me out, the Pixel 5 does have some tricks up its sleeve too, especially with photos. So this phone does have the astrophotography mode where no other phone on the market right now can come close to it. And I didn't take one with this phone just yet. It's been pretty cloudy out here, but here are some from the Pixel 4 that I took, and you can see it does a great job. And then also too, this phone does have some really cool portrait lighting effects that you can add to a portrait mode photo after the fact. And so this adds this little circle that you can drag around, and it will actually illuminate the subject depending on the angle that you have that circle towards them. So you can really kind of highlight somebody's face a little bit better. And this is just something that when you start using it for the first time, it's really cool. So look, both of these phones have some strong points and weak points and things that the other phone can't do. But definitely I feel that both of them are solid, but for photos I think you have a little bit more control with the Pixel 5, and then for videos I think you have more control with the Note 20 Ultra. All right, so well, let's close up here. So anyway, both of these phones are capable of producing some really good videos and photos, but it really kind of depends on your personal preferences. What are you looking for in a smartphone? So no matter what, I'm thinking that if I had either one, I will be able to create some really good content. But I'm really impressed with the Pixel 5 and how much it has advanced when it comes to the video department, but definitely with the Note 20 Ultra, having those extra megapixels and also zoom does come in hand as well in certain situations. So anyway, leave your comment down below and let me know which phone do you think that you would go with personally yourself. But yeah, let me get out of here before I get robbed. But anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I will catch you later. Peace. Uh-oh, here they come. There they are. That was awkward. I was saying the joke, and then he pulled around a corner when I was acting like I'm about to run, and let me go.